Good evening and welcome to Success in the City. My name is Helen Webster. I'm with the lovely
Sandra Scott, and our guest today is, whilst young, very accomplished,
Tommy Lee.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Tommy, for joining us today and giving your time. And we're going to find out all about Tommy and his amazing things that he's done. And he's only really, really young, so a super inspiration for us. But first, we start off with a shout out to the kids. So, Sam, do you want to go first? Because we've got lots of young people to celebrate, haven't we?
Yeah, I do. There's been some brilliant things coming up lately. You think in the warmer weather there'll be more things, but people are out and about now. It's getting colder, it would seem. And I don't know if anyone saw the post we put on our page, Blind Man to Iron Man.
Yes.
And and how lovely, you know, what that man's accomplished. But his young son, who is 9 years old, who insisted on going with him to do Hadrian's Wall in 6 days, which was 90 miles. Highly impressive. Massive shout out there.
And just to interrupt you there, Sam, we shared that post because I thought, oh, that's a pretty cool thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rachel Walker says, oh, he's amazing. And it's Rachel's brother's mate. So I'm going to see if I can get him as a guest on the show.
Oh, what a fabulous guest.
Just like that.
Brilliant. Just like that.
Just
and
like
then
that.
Also, two young lads who we're hoping to have on the show, if next week, if possible, I'll organise that for their availability. Kendrick Moore and Jack Newman, who've been selected for Team GB in trampolining, and they go to the trampoline club over the water, Grange Road in Birkenhead. And their coach contacted me because they're minors, they're under 16s, they can't do that. So we have to email through the coach and everything. And they're fundraising to go to Baku to represent the UK, because as with these young athletes, they have to raise all their own funds. They don't get funded by the government, and they're on their way. $3,000. It's easy for them to get $3,000.
I know, it's not a lot of money, is it, for them?
Yeah. And they were up to 800 when I checked yesterday or the day before. So fingers and toes crossed for them. What a great achievement. And just so they're from the Wirral, the two of them, and they train in Birkenhead. So fantastic to them. So I've got 3 lots of young people this week.
Brilliant. So Tommy Lee, have you got any young people who you want to shout out to?
Oh, I don't think I do.
No little people who've done anything. I know, because he's only a baby himself, isn't he? So I'm going to shout out to Millie Wick. So Millie Wick is, so I know him more, and I've known Millie since Millie was about 6 maybe. And she used to come to the park with her mum and train, and she was a really good little runner. Started doing cross country and is absolutely just smashing it. Raced in a couple of races and things, but she came first today in her cross country. With year 7, so they're senior school, aren't they? And she's not in seniors yet, so amazing. So well done to Millie. She's a little rising star one to watch. And Patrick, who hated primary school, has gone to secondary school and won a certificate for like attendance and amazing work. So he's in the right environment, and that's amazing.
Cross country, is that the one where if you saw the little bus go past, you could jump on it, it'd take you a couple of stops, and then you'd just join in with the group later?
No.
Okay.
Cross country is running in the fields when it's raining, because they always seem to do cross country in the winter, don't they? And it's like when you're freezing and around the woods, and so you're running across the country on the fields.
Road, I remember that, and the 4 of the 5 going past, and if you were spotted, God help you. Okay. Forever.
So Dave Verbeek's listening in, and he says, "Happy birthday, ladies! Congratulations and great work." So, for those who don't know, Success in the City. So it's our success. What success have we got this week? Okay, personally, I'm going to go first, and our success is that we are a year old today. So happy birthday to Success in the City. So we started it because people were being a bit miserable and being a bit negative. There were so many amazing people out and about doing amazing things. And so we decided that we'd share the positivity in the city. And I've got to say, we have had the most amazing guests.
We have, because we've had now, not including when we have pairs together, because we've had a few pairs on, haven't we? But we've had, because we had a couple where we did the Christmas one ourselves, where we had a little drink in the show, and then we've had people where they had problems coming on. So we have had 49 guests in the 52 weeks since we started. Yeah, so you're our very first guest, Tommy, of the new year. And we did, and some of the comments this week, because you did a post about it being our birthday, and some of the comments were really good. And one person I've just read before said she's been poorly and really isolated, and she felt connected from it. And that was one of the things. It was everyone, we were getting, Liverpool was going into lockdown ahead of seemed to be the rest of the country at the time, bar Leicester, and a couple of other places. And so we sort of felt it really. So it was just about keeping everyone connected and saying, hey, look at all the positive things. Look how great we are as a city, you know, let's blow our own trumpets. So that was that really. Yeah. And it's been good. And I only thought we'd do it for a little while, actually, to be honest. I thought it was just going to be a short thing in the lockdown, but it's escalated. And we were on a radio, Tommy, but it closed, which wasn't our fault, can I just say.
Yeah, we didn't close the station down.
We closed the station. We only had one slot a week. It was a community radio. So and everyone was like, oh, you've got to keep it going. And so we just do it now live on Facebook and on YouTube as well, which is cool.
But we also got, so during the week, we've also had like amazing comments from people who you don't know listen to it.
They don't what? Sorry.
You don't know that they listen to it, and then somebody comes over and goes, oh, your show's amazing. And you're like, what? Because they don't comment. So if anybody is listening out there, please comment. So I'm just going to say a quick shout out to Jan Railton. So Jan Railton's son, Darren, who ran the Paris Marathon on Sunday for prostate cancer. So well done to Darren for running that. And that nicely ties in with what we're going to be talking about today.
Oh, brilliant.
What's your success this week, San?
Well, you know what? Can I just say, it's a bit of a cheek that you said the success was the birthday of the radio, which has left me with putting my lampshade up, because I got my son to put my lampshade up, the last one I got. So I've been working from home today on the laptop all day, and I've really enjoyed myself and got stuck into all my work. And I ordered this lampshade, which arrived. So this sounds really pathetic, but I don't think I've put a lampshade up before myself in my life, probably. So that was good. And let me tell you, the instructions weren't comprehensive at all. I didn't switch the electricity off on the fuse board. I just made sure the switch was off. I know. You need a kitten. I know. Yeah, sorry, everyone. Anyway, the lampshade's fine. It's in the lounge, and I'm made up. So there we go.
Why didn't you just phone me that and you come and done it?
Well, you know what? I wanted to put it up myself. And
well done, you.
I'm delighted with it. Yeah, so that was good. So that's a trivial success compared to a years of our show. But there we go. I'm part of that as well. So that's
I know, I just stole the thunder because I went first. So tell me what amazing thing has happened to you this week.
This week, I signed up with the Penny Lane Striders, which are a running group based in Garston.
Brilliant.
Well done. So Penny Lane Striders are
based in
do they wear red and white stripy? Are they red and white, or is that the Kirby Milers?
I think that's Kirby Milers.
White and black. No, Kirby Milers. Yeah. So I think that Joe Moody Justin.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I was about to send you a message. You are having...
Because I can hear you two perfectly.
Well, that's because we are perfect, yeah. Yeah.
So Joe Moody is a Penny Lane Strider, as well as a Liverpool runner, as well as a Kirby Miler. And she posted something this week, and she'd been on a big run with them.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, so, cool. Yeah, so you'll get to meet her some around. She normally runs with a big Ridgeback dog. She's got two now, yeah. So amazing.
Airbus aircraft as well, which was the post I saw that she'd done, which was really good. So that was cool. That might have been on Air Travels, I suppose.
Amazing. Okay. We're going to play this or that. Okay. So, Tommy, I'll ask you and Sandra, and then Sandra will ask me and you. Okay, so we're going to say this or that. So it's like coffee or tea, and then we answer it. Okay. Do you want to go first, Sam?
No, you can this week. I went first last time.
Hurrah. Okay. Okay. Doesn't really apply to you, Sam, but it might do. Okay. Tommy, I'm going to ask first. Road run or trail run?
No, it doesn't apply to me at all.
Road run.
Road run? Ooh. Okay.
It depends what city you're in. You see all different sites. If you've never been to that city before, it's a good way to explore.
Very good. Very good. Sam?
What did you say? Road run or what?
Trail run. So when you run off in the woods, like through the trails, a bit like a cross country.
Road run, because if a bus comes past, you can jump on it. You won't get a bus in the woods, will you? Plus, a bear might attack you. You don't know.
It makes you run faster.
Not the city dweller. Yeah. No.
So I do like running on the road, but I'm actually training at the moment for the Anglesey Trail Half Marathon, which I haven't done a lot of training, but it's in not very long, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but I'll be all right.
The equivalent of that thing in Anglesey where you're running, because you can't get the bus because it's not a road run. In the wilderness in Anglesey, you could jump on a horse if one came past.
Yeah, I've booked myself a unicorn.
This is my mind, how I think, how can I get out of doing that? But yeah.
Well, it's been postponed 4 times, and it should have been in, was it March, May? I think it might have been May 2020. So I was thinking that was nice and warm. It's now in like the middle of November by the beach in Anglesey, so it's going to be freezing, isn't it?
You love it. You thrive on all of that.
I do thrive on that. So yeah, so I'm doing that. Okay, go on, Stan.
Okay, because you went to Lippe, Tommy, which is no mean achievement, and spent a lot of time doing activities there. Okay, singing or dancing?
Oh, that was my second one.
Dancing.
Oh,
I can't sing,
Point.
but I like singing. Okay, what about you?
Dancing. What? Yeah, dancing as well. What sort of dancing do you do, Tommy?
We did a bit of everything, really. I wasn't very good. My strong point was the acting, which that's where I excelled in, but I'd take dancing over singing any day.
Oh, can you tap dance?
I used to do Irish dancing. Me and my sister used to do Irish dancing when we were younger.
Did you?
I used to think I'd be Michael Flatley.
Michael Flatley, yeah, a bit of river dance going on.
Tommy, where did you do Irish dancing?
We did it. Where did we do it? In Chilwell.
Oh yeah.
I don't know the exact place where it was. It was in Chilwell somewhere.
Yeah, I took my son to Irish dance, and we went to see river dance. Then he also decided he wanted to be Michael Flatley, and we went over the water to this place, St Anne's, sort of down Tranmere way, somewhere around there. And we went to this hall, and there was one other lad, and the other lad was like, that was made up that he was there. They were only little, you know. And I said to the lady, "Oh, we'll get him the shoes and everything." She went, "Don't rush, just wait." And then we come out and he went, "No, I'm not doing that again." I think he just thought he'd move his legs and be brilliant. You know, he was only little. So, but then he said, "Oh, no."
It's really difficult, isn't it, Irish? I've never done Irish dancing, but it's really difficult. When you're watching them, when you watch something and it looks easy, it's really, really difficult. So yeah, so hats off to them. So I had that as my second question as well, but never mind. Okay, when you're running, music or podcast?
Ooh, music.
Music. What music do you listen to when you're running?
It varies. It can be modern music, rock classics, sometimes a bit of musical theatre. Big fan of musical theatre.
Oh, nice. What would you listen to if you ran, San?
Yeah. Well, when I exercise, I do like to listen to music. That is because I do exercise. And when I exercise, I definitely like to listen to music. In the car, I have music, but I also listen to loads of podcasts and I listen to audio books. But I don't think that would motivate me if I were to run. However, I might try that and that might help me. That could be the magic ingredient I need. A podcast round Croxteth Park. It doesn't help when people say, doesn't she run like Phoebe off Friends? That's the motivation I get, Tommy. And when I was a teacher, Tommy, one day I was telling Helen the other week, I had to go across the hall quickly for something to grab something. And I heard one of the kids go, have you seen Miss Scott run? Like that. Or have you seen how Miss Scott run? So I am a little apprehensive to go running, I must be honest. I might try speed walking. I won't look as ridiculous, believe it or not.
You do a bit of Jeffing.
I don't know what that means, but there we go.
It's a bit of like run, walk, you know, when you're just like, you know, yeah.
Run, walk.
So I don't listen to anything when I run. I've done it a few times when I've listened to a podcast and stuff, but I like to just not have earphones or anything, and I like to run and I like to listen to the sounds, especially if I'm running on the road. I think if
okay, hell's frozen for me there. So Tommy, I'm going to ask you my one next, okay? Because of the job you have, which we'll talk about shortly, because it's very interesting. Do you prefer the southeast of the country or the north of Scotland?
North of Scotland.
Why?
Beautiful place to travel to. I was up there, I want to say 3 weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it is just a beautiful place to travel to.
Scotland is beautiful, you know. It's just needed the weather, that's all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say Scotland as well.
Cool. Okay,
Where
Helen, you got another one?
I have got another one. Yeah, because I wrote 4 down because I thought, I bet you picked the same one as me. And that's only happened once before, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's a bit of a blame culture going on here.
Okay. I know. Okay. If you've got a visit, okay, in London, Ripley's Believe It or Not or Madame Tussauds, Tommy?
I'd say Ripley's Believe It or Not. I visited that one in Amsterdam. It was 2018, and it is just such an interesting place. You learn so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Sam?
Well, I've never fancied that actually, but and I've been to Madame Tussauds in London, and Madame Tussauds is famous all the world over, although they've got other ones in other cities now, but London is reputed to be the best. So I'd say Madame Tussauds, but it's not a fair comparison because I haven't been to the other. It sounds a little bit scary. Is it scary? Does it sound scary? Well, what is it, Tommy? What's in the Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Essentially, it is a bunch of things that, or people who have broken world records, let's say, and maybe a waxwork of them is put into this museum. Essentially, it's a museum that displays.
Okay.
So
it's not like the Hammer House of Horrors.
That's in my mind. That's what it was, like a horror show. Yeah.
So I've not been to either, but I've read the Ripley's Believe It or Not, and I was going to say Ripley's Believe It or Not or the Guinness Book of Records. That was going to be my first question, but I knew the answer to be the Guinness Book of Records, and we'll find out why in a bit. But Ripley's Believe It or Not is all mad facts and mad things. So Tommy can be the phone a friend on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because he'll know random stuff because he's been there.
And Tommy, we had Wild Humphrey on here a few weeks ago, and he's like that, isn't he? He just
that's a fact.
That's a fact, yeah. The knowledge he's got is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was just incredible.
One
more from you? Yeah.
Okay then. So we've done about holiday. If you'd like prefer the north of Scotland to the south, okay. Do you prefer, because we talked about musical theatre before we started the show, Hairspray or Miss Saigon?
Hairspray, I think it's going to be.
There we go. Hell?
So I've seen both, and I've seen both with my dad, which was a bit hysterical. So I went to see Miss. I went to see Miss. Yeah, so I went to see Miss Saigon, right? Because my mum wasn't well, so I ended up going. And then, because we haven't had the theatre for so long, have we? You know, and we really missed it. And it was my mum's birthday, so I bought 4 tickets for Hairspray. So Phil's seen it with me, and I thought, oh, my dad will be cool. My dad hasn't seen the film, so he was sat there like a rabbit in headlights. So I did one. I went, do you know what's going on? And he went, no, I haven't got a clue. Well, he liked the singing and the dancing and stuff. And when I actually thought about it, I thought it probably wasn't really his thing. But he did say, and you just miss live theatre, don't you? Once you've been, you know, and
right. But I've never seen Miss Saigon.
Oh, it's amazing! It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sad. I cried my leg off. Yeah.
That's another one. I quite like Hairspray. I like a happy sort of ending on a show.
I cried my leg off in there. Yeah, in there. So yeah, brilliant. Okay, so now we know a little bit more about Tommy. We're going to find out even more about him. Okay, so Tommy and I and you have never met before. So I know Tommy's mum, and she was telling me that he'd ran the London Marathon. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool thing to do. And then she said, are you 21, 22?
21.
21, so like he's this young person. And then she said that he was raising money for charity and stuff. I thought, that's pretty cool. And then I said, oh, do you think he'd come on? Because she told me about your job. And I thought, God, like a 21-year-old going to do the London Marathon, doing this, doing that. And I thought, that's pretty cool. And then I saw your mum yesterday. And she said, oh, Tommy knows one of our ex-guests, Sophie Clark. And he was in Lipper with her. And I was like, God, he's been to Lipper as well.
Yeah.
And then she said, why don't you ask the Plaza Cinema to come on as a guest? And I was like, oh, they've been. And she went, because Tommy volunteers then. I was like, no way. So I think for a 21-year-old to have done all of that stuff, and he's only 21, I'm going to hand it over to you, Tommy. You're going to tell us your experiences and everything like that. And then Sandra and I will just comment as we go along.
Because you bring a lot.
So you've got about 25-ish minutes, 30 minutes. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Tom.
I'm Tommy Lee. I was born in a small town in Germany called Mönchengladbach. At birth, I was born with meningitis. I've had that from birth. I was taken into special care from the moment I was born. The amazing doctors over there at the hospital in Germany looked after me, made sure I was okay. One thing I want to just spin off from that. The hospital I was born in Germany only had 2 English-speaking midwives, and one of the midwives cared for my granddad, who I sadly never got to meet. He died when my mum was 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
So she cared for him in the Northern Hospital in Liverpool when he was there.
What are the chances of that?
And she was there when I was born, so what are the chances?
Oh, that is incredible, isn't it? That's giving me goosebumps.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So I was lucky enough to survive from birth, come home with my mum. We moved back to Liverpool, I think 11 months after I was born, so just about to turn 1. And the meningitis has affected the whole left side of my body. But whole life, essentially. So the first thing that we discovered was that I couldn't walk. When other little kids were starting to walk, I couldn't. I was shuffling around on my bum quite a lot. So my mum, she was like, oh, he's the bum shuffler.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to special physiotherapy, have casts on my foot. I had to have all special stuff done to my foot. It was my left side. And I had to learn how to walk. So I think I was about 5 years old by the time I could actually walk properly without any support. Cut to about 8 years old, I was in school and I was having a bit of trouble in school. My teacher was saying that Tom doesn't focus that much. He's not engaging. And we went to the opticians, and actually it turns out that I had something wrong with my eyes, and this was due to the meningitis. So the way people have 20/20 vision, my eyesight, the right side is 20, the left side is 15, decreasing. So we had that to deal with as well. So I had to wear glasses. I should be wearing them now, but I had to wear glasses from a very young age.
That's incredible, isn't it? To think that you couldn't walk as a child, you couldn't walk properly, and you end up. So I'm feeling guilty now about the running. Okay, let's just put that out there. Because we just ran the London Marathon for charity, and you couldn't walk as a child. So go on.
My stepdad, he used to do a long run every Sunday. He's been a runner as long as I've known, and he used to go out every Sunday and do his big long run with a couple of friends from around our local area. And there's one Saturday night, I got back from Lipper. I was just feeling a bit inspired by him, and I thought, I'm going to go for a run with him tomorrow morning. And I thought, I'll do 1-2 miles maybe at the most. And I ended up going out and doing 11 miles.
Stop it. On your first run?
On my first proper run, wearing a pair of Vans.
I'll do
Stop
that.
it.
Now, I've never worn Vans or shoes like them pumps. They're not made for running.
Yeah.
Wow. I think I did my first month of running, doing Sunday long runs, Wednesday short runs in a pair of Vans.
And how old were you then, Tommy?
I was 14 in the January, turning 15 in February.
Brilliant.
I got all the gear.
Oh,
Wow.
how good, huh?
That year, I did my first ever half marathon, which was the Rock and Roll Liverpool half marathon.
Oh, yeah.
So hang on, the Rock and Roll half marathon, so that was, what, 6 years ago?
Oh,
Was it 6
yeah.
years ago? So that might have been when me and Rach did ours. Mark Almond was the guy at the end playing.
I think so, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Tommy remembers soft cell, but never mind.
I know. But you did your first half on the Rock and Roll Marathon. And was that a fundraiser or was that just for fun? Or
I did. I raised money for Macmillan Cancer Charity Support. I raised £300 for them at the time.
Brilliant.
I was going around school asking all my teachers and all people we knew.
That's so good.
and then what was your next one?
My next one, what was my next one? It was the year after, same one, Rock and Roll, half marathon. And during this time, I was doing the Santa Dash every year. That was like yearly thing I did.
I have done the Santa Dash twice.
That's a great race, isn't it?
I've never done the Santa Dash.
Oh, you'd love it. It's brilliant.
I know.
Such a vibe.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The one after that was 2018 when I first started working on the train. My mum had signed up to do this one. It was half marathon, Rock and Roll again. And my mum said, I'm going to do the fundraising if you'll run for me. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So that was for, I think it was for Maracuri.
Brilliant.
Raising 250, 300, I think. And that was about it until I signed up for London.
And Tommy, how much did you raise this year when you did the London Marathon, and which charity did you choose to do it for?
This year, I'll get the exact number up for you now.
So he's done 2 London marathons.
He has, actually. But you've done one physically in London.
So let's do the physical London one, and then we'll talk about the exciting thing. So the physical London one, which was this year.
Yeah.
What did you raise this year for?
I did them both for the same charity, for Meningitis Research Foundation, an amazing charity that helps aid and find research to cure meningitis.
Brilliant. So obviously that's.
What did you raise? How much did you raise this year?
I raised £3,061.
That's fantastic. That's a massive amount of money, isn't it? That's just brilliant. Well done. How cool.
Oh. Was it a charity place, Tommy, or did you go on the ballot?
It was a charity place, yeah.
Amazing. Wow. That's phenomenal.
signed up in 2019 to do the 2020 London Marathon. Obviously, COVID hit, everyone was in lockdown. So the director of London Marathon, Hugh Brasher, he said, everyone that signed up, you'll get to do a virtual marathon in October. So everyone can do it from home, essentially. So that's what I did in 2020. I did it in the same charity. And then my place was rolled over into 2021.
Okay.
So,
So where did you run when you did your virtual marathon? What was your route?
I ran from where I live in West Derby up to Ormskirk and back to West Derby.
Wow. And not only did you get a medal and your number from the London Marathon, I need you to hold up what else you got, because I'm proper well gel on this.
A world record.
A Guinness Book World Record certificate. And it's got your name on, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
It's not like a blind one.
What was your world record for, Tommy, exactly?
I'll read it off here. Thomas Lee participated in the following record events. The most users to run a remote marathon in 24 hours. That was 37,966 people.
Fantastic. And look, the age of, and you've done all that already. And when you were speaking then, you mentioned the train.
Yeah.
So would you like to tell everyone which train you work on? Because this is quite exciting, I think.
I work on board a luxury charter train called Northern Belt. We used to be owned by the Orient Express Company, and now we're owned by West Coast Railways. It is a luxury charter train that deals with fine dining and wines.
Wow. So how did you come to work on the train? What was your journey to the train?
So in 2016, we all went on as a family for Mother's Day with my mum. And at the time, I was working in my local restaurants around the corner. And we were sat there, we were having a nice meal, and the manager on the train at the time comes up and starts speaking to us on our table. And my mum, she goes, "Oh, my son works at a restaurant." I'm like, "Mum, stop embarrassing me." He says, "I'll be back in just one moment." He comes back with his business card and says, "Give me an email when you're 18. So I thought nothing of it at the time. And December 2017, I was looking for a few jobs. So I thought, I need a bit more money. And I saw his business card, so I gave him an email and went in, did my interview, got the job, and here I am now.
Oh, isn't that
cool
fun?
is that?
And
So where does it go from and where does it go to?
So our depot is in Carnforth, which is just outside the Lake District, South Lake District. And we can pick up from essentially any destination within the UK. We do lunch trips, which are a 7-course dinner, and we'll take you on a round trip of the countryside. So there's no departure from the train apart from when you get back to your station in the evening. Or we'll do a full day trip, which we can pick you up, let's just say from Lime Street, for instance, take you down to London, and you can get off the train for a few hours, have your little wander around London.
I would love that.
Let's do that, Sam.
Yeah, let's do that. And Tommy, how long was the training to do it? Because obviously it's all silver service and everything, isn't it?
I was lucky to have been working in the industry already, so I already had quite a few things up my sleeve. But it was, from day one, they were very, very supportive, and it was just learning as you go, essentially.
Yeah, it's all attention to detail, though, isn't it? It's all tongs and everything's tip top, isn't it? No one, when you go somewhere and you drop your knife on the floor and they just pick it up and give you the same knife. There's none of that going on. No. Oh, I love it.
So how long have you been working on the train?
Since 2018.
Wow. So you were only like really young, weren't you? When you 18. Wow.
18, yeah. How lovely. And you saying you work with a lot of people who are ex-air crew?
Yeah.
Who do that, yeah. And I've got a few friends who've flown who work on different trains, etc. But I think it's quite nice that, because as you said, it's charter. So have you met any interesting people you're allowed to tell us about?
Any interesting people? Last Christmas, I served Gary Barlow his Christmas dinner. He was on board.
Oh, did you work on Christmas Day?
Not on Christmas Day. He was on board on the, I think it was the 6th of December last year.
Wow.
But in December, we run a lot of Christmas trips. So we'll go from the 1st to the 21st of December, and each day we'll do a Christmas dinner that day.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
I tell you what, it's not a tenner. it's not a Saturday special 2 for 11.50, you know.
No.
It's very upmarket.
With nice.
Okay, I don't know what Helen then, Tommy, but it sounds amazing. And you know, you were saying it's charter, so do you ever get like companies that charter the train and do special things for their staff or anything like that?
Yeah, so we've had Rolex charter us out before. A company called John, they're a jewelry company.
Yeah.
Boodles, and what was our most recent one? Protect the Leap.
Did you get a free Rolex?
Oh, I wish.
Oh, lovely. What a lovely thing. It's quite interesting that as well, isn't it? You meet all types of interesting people and things. I'd enjoy that.
That's amazing.
And they cater for all manner of dietary requests.
Anything you want, we can do.
Oh, I can see Sandra's cogs are turning there of how we're going to get on that train.
I'm like, that's getting added to the list.
Yeah.
Beforehand, we don't have on board, but the chef somehow managed to make them up. I don't know how they do it.
Oh,
It's
isn't that
amazing,
wonderful?
isn't it? Yeah.
Oh,
So who's the most interesting person that you've served on the train?
Interesting. I had a gentleman the other week, actually. He wasn't in my carriage. He was in my colleague Amanda's carriage. I was told I needed to go speak to this gentleman immediately. I was like, oh, does he know me? Is he a previous customer? Yeah. So I go down to Amanda's carriage, and she points me in his direction and says, oh, this is Tommy. He's doing a London Marathon in a few weeks. And this gentleman, he had run over 50 marathons in his lifetime. He'd raised over £500,000 for all these different things, and he was turning 80 this month.
Wow!
And he's doing a half this month as well.
Well, there's hope for me.
No pressure on you there, then, Tommy. Is there? Wow, that's cool, isn't it?
I bet he was really pleased, though, that you were doing it as well. He will have been supportive, I imagine.
Oh yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to meet him and get to have a little chat with him.
I think people who run support each other. Peter Lloyd's commented, hasn't he, Helen?
Yeah. So Peter Lloyd was one of our guests a couple of months ago, and he's put evening goal. That was such an inspiring story, Tommy. You've achieved a lot in a short time. Well done. And Peter actually did the London Marathon as well. Yeah, and he raised money for war memorials, wasn't it? In what was it called? The War Memorials Heritage Fund or something, and they protect them all. Yeah. Wasn't it like? And he fundraised for that, didn't he? And we saw him on Friday, and he said that it took about a week for his legs to start working again. So he'd had a couple of sports massages, and he said his legs were just done, you know. So how did you feel after the marathon, Tommy?
A bit sore, to be honest. It took me a few days to recover, but I've got a really lovely friend, Dean, who does my massages for me, sports therapy. His name's Dean Dalton, if anyone wants to get in touch with him.
Yeah.
He's very supportive over my journey doing the marathon. I'd say about 3 or 4 days for me.
Gosh. What chance have I got, Helen? My legs are broken, both of them.
He said it was tough when he was coming towards the end. He said it was tough and his legs were like not moving as much as they thought they would. What was your mileage that you trained to, Tommy? Did you train up to 20 miles or did you go further?
Up to 20, yeah.
Up to 20, yeah. And how did you fit all your training in with work?
It was a bit hectic when we started back after lockdown. Obviously, I was training during lockdown, which was perfect. I can do as many runs as I want, as long as I want, and if I'm sore the next day, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But when we went back to work, it was a bit chaotic. It was trying to fit them in within coming back from work or just before work.
Yeah,
and I think the hardest thing, isn't it? Most people say the hardest thing to do for a marathon is the training for it.
Once you're there, you just got to run.
Yeah, very much. Because I was thinking that about how you train, because some of your days must be really long. Like if you're picking up at a certain time and then you're going somewhere and people can have time there if they want, and then coming back, it really is a long day. And presumably you're on your feet. I bet you feel like you've walked where you've gone sometimes, because you must be up and down constantly. And I think to have the dedication to train after doing a physical job like that is something else. It really is. You know,
definitely steps in on the train.
Peter Lloyd's put, it's the War Memorials Trust he ran for that he raised funds for. Isn't it incredible, really? And I know the London Marathon generates so much money, doesn't it, for charity?
Millions.
Over £3,000. Tommy, is fantastic for that charity. You know, what an achievement. You know, you should be, I bet you're proud of, you know, but even more so. And I think to anyone, you know, to be told you couldn't walk as a child and you weren't walking properly at all till you're about 5, and to have been affected, as you said, your whole life, the left side of the body, to go and run and raise over £3,000, do the job you do on your feet, go to everything you've done is quite against all odds. Now, I need to ask you this, because you said where you were born and everything, and that you support Mönchengladbach, that's your team. Do you speak any German?
A little bit.
Ein bisschen. Because you came over here when you were very young. You were only a baby, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you go back to Germany at all?
Last time I went back was for my 18th birthday. My sister Heather and her fiance Chris took me for 18th. So we stayed in Amsterdam for the week, and then we went over back to Mönchengladbach for the day. It's a small little town.
Yeah.
Bit of a cool present, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is a cool present of your sister. How nice.
I know, that's a bit amazing, that, isn't it? That's a cool present. So when you, I want people to know, so like the struggles that you went through when you were younger. So you were 8, and your left side. So how is your left side now?
Apart from my eye, all right, to be honest.
So when did it all start to come? You know, when were you? So you were 8 and you were still having struggles and things like that.
Yeah,
did you grow out of it, or?
I think my eyesight, that was the last sort of thing that we found out, really. Well, it was mainly the walking, which was the big struggle. But
and then, so at what point, when you were struggling to walk, at what point did you manage to walk successfully that you were able to go on and run? I suppose that's what we mean. How did it change?
So I think obviously about age 5, it was sort of developing out of wearing a cast, and I stopped going to the physiotherapy, and I stopped going to special nurseries to watch kids walk, how they walked. But around like 6 years old, 7, I was playing football in school and doing what all the kids were doing, what I've been watching them doing for a few years, being in nursery.
So resilient. That's fantastic, isn't it? And like you went on and did dancing and Irish dance and things like that. You know, it's just fantastic. And one of my favourite stories ever, Tommy, do you know the story of Wilma Rudolph? She was an American person born in the 60s, born in the 50s, from a very, very poor family in the southern US states. And she had to have calipers on her legs. And she ended up a gold medalist at the Olympics in athletics for running, you know. So it just reminds me of that story, really, because your mum must have had this little baby and been said, oh, no, he's not going to walk or anything like that. And then off you go and you've run the London Marathon. No wonder your mum's so proud of you and the job you have as well. And you volunteer.
I do.
I don't know how you find time. So tell us about your voluntary work you do.
So I work at the Plaza Cinema in Crosby. The cinema has been in the family for years. It's where my mum, she was brought up. Dad used to take her to the cinema there to watch films, and I used to go as a little kid as well. And it was something that come about when I was about 16. I saw a post on Facebook saying they were looking for volunteers, so I applied. And I've always been a big fan of films. It's been something that I've loved all my life. And who's going to say no to free films?
Yeah, we're going to choose the 3 films, yeah.
And we had the guy on, the manager there from the Crosby Cinema, and he came on sort of quite some time ago on the show earlier on in the year, and he was talking about the effort and what it costs to run and everything. And one of the things I think that's fantastic about that cinema is the ticket price.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because my son's girlfriend's over from Italy, and he's working Saturday night. So I said, I'll take her to the cinema because I want to go and see the new Bond film. So I had a look in town, and I was looking at different prices, and I'm not going to name the cinema's name. I nearly died at one of the prices of the cinemas. I couldn't believe it. Put it this way, the Odeon in Liverpool one was a bargain in comparison. So, and I was just really shocked how expensive the tickets were for this particular cinema. And I thought, well, it won't go there then. And I think what the cinema does, what the Plaza does, is it makes the cinema more accessible for people. Do you know what I mean? The thing I looked at today, it was £26 something for 2 tickets. It was £13 odd each, which for me are London prices. And then by the time you get a drink and some popcorn and stuff like that, and I think what the Plaza Cinema does is it means that people can take their kids to the cinema. It's affordable. They're not looking at £13 a head, you know.
It's also with the Plaza, is the money that they raise goes back into the local community and into the upkeep of the, and it's like volunteers like you, Tommy, who enable it to keep going. We have got lots of volunteers, but it's a really sort of oldie worldy cinema as well. So the experience, we went for A Wonderful Life at Christmas, and it got mulled wine when you went in, and it was amazing. It was lovely, and they showed us the video of how they saved the cinema. I think it's a 13-minute YouTube, and it's brilliant. Everybody needs to watch it because it's really inspirational how they saved the cinema.
And I think it's inspirational how the local community got together as well. And it just shows the power of community. And I know Kev from An Hour for Others, he's always talking about community and helping your area and putting stuff back in. And I just think you're amazing, Tommy, because you do that for your local area. Well, you live in West Derby, actually, don't you? You were saying. And you go and support the cinema in Crosby. And then you do fundraising for a national charity as well, you know, and you just contributing so much to society, all whilst holding down quite a job where I wouldn't say it's high pressure, but you have to work to a high standard, don't you, in the workplace? Everything's got to be tip top. So no wonder your mum's proud of you. What an absolute credit you are.
Yeah. So what does the future hold then, Tommy? What's your next challenge?
The next challenge, this Sunday, I'm doing the Rock and Roll Marathon in Liverpool, in town. Not doing it for any charity or any organisation, just doing it for myself.
Yeah.
After that, my next...
Just because you're bored on a Sunday?
Yeah. My next race after that will be the Manchester Marathon next April.
Right.
And you're going to do that for... You're going to do that? Are you going to fundraise for that one?
That one, again, is just for myself, but I'm looking into doing the London Marathon next year. I've just entered the ballot. I entered it literally as I was having my tea after I did the marathon.
Oh my goodness. You couldn't walk and you thought, I'll sign up for that again.
I hobbled to the pub, sat down and had my beer and my burger. And it was coming up, everyone signing up for the ballot. And I thought, why not?
Oh, that's
I think Peter Lloyd did exactly the same, you know. I think he finished and then he entered it straight away. So the ballot, there's 40,000 places in the London Marathon and over 240,000 people apply.
Yeah.
And some 50,000 people from outside the UK apply as well. Yeah, it's a massive focus.
You're a bit pixelated this evening, Helen. We're having a few connection problems, I think. And then when
I can see you two perfectly.
You're all right now, you're okay, but it does keep cutting out quite a lot. So never mind. Well, let's move on because we might have some interesting moments to share, I wonder, in your job, Tommy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a red face moment. So our red face is something that people can laugh along with, not at you. So do you have a red face moment, Tommy?
Red face moment.
Anything embarrassing happened that you're able to share with us, either at the marathon or at your job?
At the marathon or at the job?
Probably your job, I would imagine. I bet something's happened.
Have a little think about that. Can you come back to me?
That's okay. Go on.
I think I've been okay this week. Although I thought of one that you and I, when we went to pick Lou up and we were putting it in the car, and I threw stuff in the bin, but actually threw the keys in the bin.
Oh yeah, that was a nightmare. Yeah,
and then I had to delve in the bin, didn't I, to get my keys out. Good job they only landed on the top. You laughed.
I laughed, but that's something. And funny enough, you talk about things like that happening. When I used to work on the aircraft, I remember this when I was at Monarch. So many times we used to have a lot of change in those days. So that you'd have loads of bags and bags of change because people used to get rid of their change on the plane to buy drinks and stuff. And you'd have, and then you'd have all English notes in front. And so many times the whole lot of change would go in the bin. And you'd literally I can't tell you how bad it was. And it'd be all people's dinner and stuff. And you'd literally have to put rubber gloves on. And I remember this girl when I worked for British Airways in London. And I said, look, we're going to have to get the money out the bin or whatever. And she dropped the money. I said, we have to take it out. You can't just leave it. The money has to. And so I said, and she goes, what do I do? And I go, well, we'll put your gloves on. Come on. And she went, I was a PA. I left a PA's job to do this. And I said, well, you might like to go back then. But it's quite, people think that, or in those days, you think it's quite a glamorous job. But, when someone's had the dinner and they say, oh, my child's left their brace on the tray and there's 361 passengers and the food's all, and you're literally pulling out every single used tray with butter on everything to find this kid's brace or something like that. There's all stuff like that goes on, which isn't quite as people would like to see. But you might be able to tell us some of your embarrassing moments on that train, Tommy, to protect the identity of the client.
There's one without any of the passengers on board. It was the other week. We'd finished our service, all the passengers had gotten off, and we were just stripping down for the night, cleaning the whole train. And we sorted the carriage out, so we're just sorting our little pantry area out where all our glasses go. And one of my jobs for that night was to put all the wine that was in one of the big coolers back into the wine storeroom. So I'm dragging all these big coolers down to the storeroom, and I'm putting the bottles on the shelves. And I just finished putting the last bottle on the shelf. I was pouring all the excess water out the cooler, and the train jerked. And I kid you not, maybe 10, 15 bottles just went off the shelf.
Oh.
And did they smash?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that was another 10, 20.
Oh dear. These things happen, don't they?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, I don't know if I've had any embarrassing moments this week, actually. I probably have, but I'm unaware of them. No, I think I'm all right, really, which is...
well done, you. Amazing.
My head, you see, I don't realise they're embarrassing, Tommy, and other people go, oh, my God. And I go, no, I'm not embarrassed. It's just how I live my life.
So shout out to the grown-ups. Any grown-ups who've done amazing things this week? San, any grown-ups?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to check our page because I've been posting them. So Blind Man to Iron Man, who also who commended his son, but did Hadrian's Wall himself, which was just absolutely inspirational. And also, 90 miles in 6 days it was, coast to coast. Also, I wanted to give a big shout out for a local teacher from St. Vincent's
St. Vincent's, yeah.
School for Blind, David Swanston, who's 34. He's made it through to the final shortlist after 8,000 nominations from 121 countries. So out of 8,000 teachers that were nominated, he's made it to the final shortlist. He's the deputy principal at St. Vincent's School for Children with sensory impairments, as we say now, in West Derby. And he said the children are very excited. We're in the he's from Falkirk in Scotland originally, but he lives in Liverpool now. Anyway, you might get $1 million.
I was going to say it's $1 million prize, isn't it? Yeah.
Don't be running off, say.
I know. That's an amazing achievement, isn't it? Any shout out to grown-ups from you, Tommy?
I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who donated towards me running the London Marathon. Thank you to my amazing family for supporting me, all my friends. I want to say a massive shout out to my best friend, his mum, Jackie Prothero. She's doing a cyclocross event and the Santa Dash to raise awareness and funds to help a young girl who's very ill, close to her, called Annie.
All right, okay. Amazing. Tommy, if you want to share that with us, we can put that on our page, if you like, on the Success in the City page for her.
Yeah, brilliant, yeah. Well done. Have I got a shout out to any grown-ups? I don't think so.
A shout out to you, Helen, because you always wanted to do the radio show, and we sort of did it then, didn't we?
And you did as well, so I'm going to shout out to you as well.
Keeping it going for a year, and we just have an absolute laugh, you know. And sometimes, we're quite unprofessional at times. There is structure, but we do wing it a lot, which people don't realise because we're quite relaxed. But sometimes the videos come up, you know, if you do things, and loads of them start with me going, ha, and whatever we've been talking about already, we're just laughing our heads off because it is. I really enjoy it, and some of the people we have on. Here's you, Tommy, at your age now, 21. Everything you've done and given to others, and it is, you are the epitome of success in the city, really. And often we have some older people on who are quite accomplished. They've had long, interesting lives. And I think what's fascinating about yourself is not just what you've done, which is incredible, coming forward from the meningitis to becoming running 2 London marathons, etc., but also your age. And Peter Lloyd commented on that, and he said you've achieved a lot in a short time, and you give so much back to society and your community. We're very lucky you came here when you were a baby from Mönchengladbach, aren't we?
Yeah. And it's amazing, isn't it? You know, such a young person. And we always, I always say, like, shout your successes from the rooftops.
Yeah.
Because some people say, like, oh, they're bragging and stuff. And I'm totally the other way. You're an inspiration to others. And somebody might watch something and think, well, if he can do it, so can I.
Yeah. I might run to the bottom of the road now.
Well done. Well done. You do that and I'll video you and we'll make a fortune.
Well, see, that's it. It's that type of thing, Tommy, that puts me off.
So, do we have a positive challenge? Tommy, have you got a positive challenge that people could go out and about and do?
It could be something as little as just going for a walk. All it takes is that first step. Go for a quick walk. That might turn into something else. It might not. You can go for a quick run afterwards if you're able to, and just push yourself.
Yeah. Brilliant. I love that. Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? You know, running's not for everybody, but everybody can go outdoors and get a bit of fresh air, and you know, you just feel so much better when you've been outside, isn't it, with fresh air. And
if people need reminding, think how people felt when they couldn't really go out the house. You know, we can go out the house now. You know, we're lucky, we can go out the house. So just make even in the pouring rain, wrap up, put a hood on, go and breathe, get some fresh air. It's lovely.
You're not made of ice and sugar, you won't melt. Yeah. So thank you so much for Tommy for joining us. You are an inspiration. You are a young person, and your mum's fantastic for supporting you, you know, and doing amazing things with you when you're younger and giving you that can-do attitude, which has made you the person that you are today. We're going to close with you. Do you have a closing quote or a mantra that you live by?
I have a quote.
Go on.
You can achieve anything if you put your mind to it.
Nice. I love that. So yeah, so you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it. I totally agree with you. I think it's great. I want to say a massive thank you to Sandra and a happy birthday to us for our first year. Tommy, again, massive thank you for coming on. And we will see everybody next week. Thank you.
We wish you luck with everything.